Hey everybody, it's Adam from Encounter Wargaming, and today I'm going to teach you how to paint a Sylvaneth trees quick and easy. So for a lot of you terrain makers or Age of Sigmar players out there, or just, fans of fantasy terrain for various needs, whatever you may have, like Malifaux or D&D or whatever, you may need to get yourself an entire forest. And these GW trees are pretty good quality trees, I must say, and modular now, which is fantastic. And you may find you need to paint a whole bunch of them really quick, especially you Sylvaneth players out there. And so we're going to come up with a method to paint them quickly, easily, but also effectively so they look really good on the table. We're going to use a combination of rattle cans, hand painting, airbrush, dry brush, whatever, the whole nine. So we're gonna really get in there, do some quick, easy techniques and make them look really effective. So stay tuned. In many cases, you're not just gonna have one of these, but you're gonna have 9 of them. And so what you can go ahead and do is just get yourself a very large board and tape them down to it. And so I'll be right back with mine, and you can see how I spray paint many things at the same time. So here I have all my trees lined up. This is 3 sets of them, 9 trees total. I have just masking tape that I laid out over a piece of MDF board that I use for making bases for terrain. And there you go, just tape trees, 9 of them all around, and I always try and put them close to the edge so I can spray up and underneath them. So there you go, get them all laid out, taped around, and let's take them out and spray paint them. What I'm going to use is this satin espresso color, just like a dark chocolate brown, and there you go. So you can use this, cover your trees in brown. This will get all your all the tree trunks and give you a nice base color for to work up your green for the leaves. So there you go, let's start with that, get them all covered in brown, and we'll be right back. Alright, so now that they're all spray painted brown, what we can do is just take like a light beige color, and we're going to get a dry brush layer down, and then we're going to do some subtle airbrushing on top. So these are just like tin foil as a palette. Get it super dry. You could use a paper towel. It's a good way to get things really dry. And then just go to town. Have a little dry brush. Leave a whole bunch of that dark brown there. But really get in there on those branches. The trunk is the most important part, because when you look in on the tree, that's what you see. And so there you go, just cover it all. Boom. Be pretty sloppy about it, because again, we're coming in with an airbrush paint right on top. And kind of blend the two browns together, right? So there we go. Okay, so that's what you're working with right there. So go ahead and do it on all 9 of your trees, and then, or however many you're doing. If you got a pack of 3, whatever's had you, go for it. So there you go. Get it done on all of them, and we'll be right back. All right, so there you go. There's all 9 trees dry brush. And I went ahead also, and I'll make a note, I went ahead and dry brushed the leaves as well, because when we go over with green, I think that'll be really helpful for bringing out some definition with our green airbrushing. So now the next step is to come on over to our airbrush station. We're going to take my Iwata HPCS clips. We're going to take some camo medium brown from Vallejo Air, and we are going to airbrush the bark on these trees now that they have some super dark brown, and this now light beige color on top. So take some in there, take some of this reducer, plop it in there, and thin it out a little bit, and we're going to backflow it to mix it together. All right. Oh, we need my compressor turned on, and basically, once this thing fills up, we'll be right back, and we will start airbrushing. Okay, we are ready to rock and roll. I got my medium brown going, and now I'm just going to spray that nice and thin all over all of the bark. And you can see it's going to go on nice and thin and pick up. It's going to leave the darks, catch the lights. Give us some really good definition on this whole tree. Hey Bubba, filming the video, remember you have to be quiet. And so here we go, get it on the tops of the leaves, all through it there, underneath. Now I'm not too worried about the underneath, so I don't know if you noticed, but you can probably see a bunch of like the gray plastic. Yeah, because no one's ever going to pick these up and turn them around and take a look there, but so I was just kind of fine to leave it like that. So there you go. Now you can see that kind of thin layer is now got some texture. It's leaving the dark browns. It's hitting those raised areas, edges. Pretty simple, but it's very quick and very effective. So that's the goal that we're going for. So, all right. A little bit of touch-ups. As the paint dries, it thins a little bit more. And there we go. So go ahead and do that on all 9 of them, and we'll be right back. All right, so I got so excited I jumped onto the next step, and basically I took a light beige color in my airbrush, and what I did was I'm trying to set myself up to get a nice definition on the leaves for all these. And so I just took the airbrush and did a little dusting, and this one could probably be brought up a little bit, a light dusting around the edges of all the leaves. So same thing, I'm setting myself up for a nice undercoat, much like we did the brown with the dry brushing. It's the exact same idea. We're going to overpaint it with the green to kind of bring out some green leaves. And so that'll help give some lighter edges, some darker insides, and hopefully give some shadow and dimension to all of these trees. And so that's the big idea. Go ahead, do that on all your trees, and we'll be back with some green. All right, so now we're going to come in with some Vallejo Game Air dark green, and hopefully we can start to build up different layers of green and really make these trees pop. So put a whole bunch of paint in there. Maybe I'll water it down a little bit just to make more of this make more of this stuff pop out. All that beige airbrushing we did. Hopefully, if it's a little bit thinner than normal, then the effect will be increased for what we're trying to achieve here. And so let's also get a little tool. It's a very technical, fancy tool called just a card, and use it to block the tree branches underneath, so we don't paint tree branches green. And go around here and see how we do. All right, we're getting somewhere. Cool. Oh boy. I really got to keep it under control so I don't blow too far backwards and get the branches. Alright. So you start to see that underpainting we did is really having an effect. So we're really getting the nice halos around the outside of those leaves, and it's just giving some nice variation and texture to all of that. And so go ahead do this on all 9 leaves. You can take more time to do this. But yeah, start there, see how it goes, and just work your way around. And yeah, we'll be right back when it's all done. Okay, so there you go. There's a whole bunch of trees all painted with the overspray of that dark green, and it looks really good. It's really popping off those trees really well. So this video is basically one big lesson on pre-shading, but using these Sylvaneth trees as an example, and you can get a lot done real quick. And because it's terrain, you don't care as much how perfect or pretty it is. But now basically it's finishing it up, right? So it's going to be painting, the little rocks and pebbles that are all over this. So we're just going to get out the airbrush and just paint gray on all those. And so you can do that. So I've already got my airbrush, ready to go here. This is black gray. model color, black gray. And so you could use that. I mean, just go base coat everything, right? Like there's a big huge rock on this one, right? So let's just, and again, you don't have to be so precise because you know, you want it to look like there's brown coming up on top of these rocks because, you know, the dirt, they're getting all dirty and whatnot. So go ahead and just do that everywhere on all of your trees. So go for it. And you can even, while you're at it, just paint, you know, there's bones all over these, paint those beige and whatnot. And then the toadstools, go ahead and pick out those details too if you like. So you can paint those toadstools. There's under there, can you see those? Yeah, there's toadstools all over these things. So just paint those in whatever kind of color you like. And yeah, so paint it, base coat on all the details, and we'll be right back. All right, so you can see here, all those base coats are done. So I brought up the rocks with the brighter gray, so it's a dark gray and a bright gray. And then I went ahead and I painted the skeletons and skulls and bones and stuff laying around, but I also painted the mushrooms red. I'm gonna go in and give them some white dots on top as well. So to keep your paint process going speedy, you can pull out some contrast paints as well for those bones. I just went straight to the bone color because you can pull out these contrast paints and man, they work wonders on stuff. And so I mean, you've seen them online. There's great videos that'll actually like focus on painting with contrast paints, but it's essentially like a pretty decent wash right here, right? Slash glaze type of thing. And so I'll just pretty liberally apply that over any of these bone parts, and it makes it look old, worn, but also shaded, detailed. Let's get the camera to focus higher up. And there you go, right? So just quickly go over. In a few seconds, you've base coated and washed all your bone parts, and it looks decent enough for terrain, right? And that's the goal. You don't want things to take away from the model. So you don't need terrain to be like crazy detailed and amazingly painted, because the models of the armies are the feature, right? So there you go. So paint those up on all of them. If you feel like it, you can, you know, use like a darker contrast, like a more infrared brown or something on your toadstools. I may just skip that just to, again, save some time. But go ahead, use your contrast paints as you see fit. You could use like a gray one on all the rocks too if you like. Again, I probably won't do that. Yeah, so let's do that stage and do it on all of them, and we'll be right back. Contrast paint is done and drying. And so now what we're gonna do is just do the little dots on the tiny little toadstools. And so grab some white paint and just get in there and very carefully varying sizes and shapes, well, all circles I guess, but various sizes, especially on these smaller toadstools. You don't want to take it over with just like one or two, but various positions on it so it doesn't look like a pattern or anything. So you're going to get this is a rougher type brush, same size brush, just a better, cleaner, newer tip to it. Much better. Yeah, much more consistent with this. Great. So just little dots on all those. Maybe you can get in there, take a look. All right, so just dots on all those, and that'll look pretty cool. And that'll stand out and make our give a good level of detail to something that we're doing a pretty decent speed paint job on it. So to have a little bit of detail like this will really help make them pop and stand out. So go ahead and do it on all of them, and we are in the final stages of this game, so we'll be right back. Okay, I have just so many little white dots on so many tiny red toadstools. It got nuts. So finally what we're going to do is just dry brush the dirt on these bases a little bit just to differentiate it from the trees minorly. So I got my large Artist Opus dry brush, and we'll just get it super dry. So we'll just go on really light, and we'll just dry brush down at the bottom here. just to give it a nice differentiation from the bases, the rocks, all this stuff here. These bits of dirt, beautiful, because there's all sorts of little texture parts that you can really make pop. As well with the stone, makes all the edges of the stone really come to life. And so there we go. So you can see, as an example, and I'll put two beside each other just so you can compare, right? One very flat and one is popping a lot more. So there you go. Go ahead and dry brush the entire thing fully on all 9, and I think we can call these done. Okay, and here are a bunch of trees all done and ready for the gaming table. So I'll just pan across. You can see I've set up some of my Age of Sigmar dudes that I've just finished. You see all those toadstools popping out. See the leaves have some nice variation on them, and when you set them all up together, they look like a really cool forest, all in one jumble. So let me pan out and show you another angle and perspective, but these are looking really good now that they're all done. Here they are again. You see that dry brushing on that bottom layer really helps them pop and stand out. Very cool. Those rocks are now really well defined. The bones got a little bit of a facelift as well, and the dirt now looks like actual dirt with some variation to it and texture, which is really cool. Those leaves are bright and popping. Looks really great. And here's from the top down what it looks like. You can see nice covering from all those leaves. Very, very, very cool. Nice texture, great terrain, and it's all done. So guys, let's wrap this up. All right guys, so there's another video on the books. That is a way to speed paint terrain using rattle cans, using an airbrush, and using simple techniques like pre-shading. Pre-shading is a big one here. Pre-shading, dry brushing, a little bit of airbrushing, and you can get a ton of terrain work done in just a few hours. And so I just spent a few hours this afternoon doing it, and it was really easy, really fun. We got a lot of detail work done, and this terrain really pops on the table. It's really going to make a big impact to some of our Age of Sigmar table for our local gaming club, of which we have an Age of Sigmar tournament coming up this weekend. We're all getting into it. We're all trying it out for the first time, and so we're doing a little doubles event for funsies, all just bringing in 1,000 points. You only have to have 2 battle line painted and 1 hero painted, so it's a pretty low painting requirements. Mostly all of our other events are fully painted all the time, and so yeah, it's really, really sweet. So hopefully you guys also have some fun painting terrain, and that these techniques help you out in the long run in getting your terrain done, because there's nothing like fully painting your army and then having no terrain to play with. So hopefully you can paint up some terrain real quick and just lift the whole experience of your wargaming. So guys, if you like that video, jump down there and hit subscribe, hit the little bell below so you get notifications when future videos release as well. And we would love if you would like to support the channel even further, if you could jump down to our Patreon link, where for as little as $1 a video you can support everything that we do. Painting tutorials, terrain tutorials, battle reports, fluff videos, the whole 9 yards, unboxings of new cool stuff that's coming up, reviews of products. All that stuff is supported by the patrons, and so we would love if you could become a patron today. Of course, there's cool free swag that our $2 patrons get every year, so make sure if you want some free swag to jump on that. Guys, other than that, if you want to support us, you can, for a one-off, buy a t-shirt or otherwise, and that'd be really cool too. So guys, that's it for today, and we will see you at our next encounter.
Like a monkey in a rocket on his way back home. Okay.